This is the On Target Preparedness podcast with David Hesselmeyer. This podcast is devoted to discussing the challenges, proven methods, and success stories in emergency management for all types of agencies. Here is your host, David Hesselmeyer.
Hello and welcome to the On Target Preparedness podcast. I'm your host, David Hesselmeyer. Today is Thursday, January 25th. It's actually about a few minutes after 2 o'clock, and we're here doing our next podcast with you. We're very happy to have you. We've got a very special podcast today, and hopefully you will thoroughly enjoy it as much as I'm going to enjoy being part of it. So, as we always like to start out, tell you a little bit about what's going on in the On Target Preparedness podcast world and the On Target Preparedness world. We have been growing. We do have a new full-time staff member, which you'll get to meet in just a minute, and we're very excited about that. But to get a new full-time staff member, we had to add a lot of clients, or what we call family members, and so we're very happy to announce that we have started working with Columbus County Health Department as well as the Anson County Health Department. So they're newly on board here the last 2 weeks. So that's a wonderful thing, and we've got a lot of proposals and things to work with a lot of good partners and family members as well, so that's great. Here in good old North Carolina, if you're listening from outside of the state, we've been dealing with some snow and ice storms, and before you start picking on us for closing everything, we do take a little bit of caution, sometimes a little bit too much, but at the same time, we get ice, not just snow, we get ice, and so we have to be prepared. But luckily, the last two snow ice storms we had have not been too bad. So very excited about that we stayed safe. We did help, and we're in communication with some of the different clients that we have for the purpose of suggesting shelters and things with shelters and events to that, for the purpose of making sure that everyone stayed safe, all the citizens and that kind of thing. So we've been doing a lot of stuff as well still with the CMS preparedness rule. I know y'all probably remember the episode with Graham when he was talking about that. I can tell you we've had 2 facilities we've worked with who've actually had CMS or Joint Commission show up and ask them questions about it. So that was good to be able to know that we were able to provide for that. So very excited for that purpose. So a little bit about what we've been doing. I do want to give a quick shout out. As y'all know, I always like to try to shout out to somebody who's really just going above and beyond at all times and things. And this time I want to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, a good supporter, a great supporter, of On Target Preparedness, Chief Les Carpluck from Canada. He had retired 4 years ago, or about 4 years ago, and did some family stuff, and has recently been re-promoted to fire chief of another department, and is already planning good things. I know he'll do great for them. So I want to give Chief Carpluck a big thumbs up, a good pat on the back for that. So let's go ahead and jump in. We have a total of 3 people here in addition to myself, and we'll go around and have everybody introduce themselves. But to let you know, our topic today is going to be higher education in emergency preparedness. What is the purpose of college degrees and secondary certificates and licenses as it relates to emergency preparedness as a whole? So I do want to introduce first Dr. Amanda Parker. She oversees the Homeland Security Program at Campbell University, located in Bush Creek, North Carolina. So if you don't mind, Dr. Parker, if you'll give us a little introduction about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, David, for the invite. I'm really excited to be here. I've been in Campbell for 5 years, overseeing the Homeland Security Program, and the program is growing by leaps and bounds. Right now we have 2 emergency management courses, but we're hoping to get an emergency management minor in the works in the next year or so. So the role of higher education is really, really important, and I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. I can say that OTP loves working with Dr. Parker. We have interns that come from her Homeland Security program and such, and they're just great to work with. And we love the fact that you're able to use them as adults. They're mature students that come in and they're ready to go, and you don't have to babysit them, as we've had experiences with interns before. They're always a great asset. So next we'll go over to our new full-time employee, Miss Amani West, who actually graduated from Dr. Parker's program here a month ago, I believe. So Amani, welcome to the OTP family this week, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, David. So as David said, my name is Imani West, and I just graduated from Campbell in December with my degree in Bachelor's of Science, but it's a concentration in Homeland Security. While I was at Campbell, I had the chance to work closely with Dr. Parker and other teachers to really jumpstart my Homeland Security degree and just take classes that would help me better understand emergency management. So, yep, a little bit about me.
Awesome. Well, we are very excited to have Amani on the team. She started this past Monday, and she's got aspirations to go work for FEMA, and I told her that's what she wants to do. Then OTP will do our best to train her up right and send her on to FEMA, and if we get a chance to hold on to her for a long, long time, we're going to do that as well. So the next guest we have is actually a current student of Dr. Parker's, as well as an intern with On Target Preparedness, and that is Mr. Scott Nicklow. Welcome, Scott. If you don't mind, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Thank you, David. Well, like you said, I'm a senior here at Campbell University, and I'm also in the Homeland Security department. I am scheduled to graduate at the end of this current semester, but I'm currently interning with On Target Preparedness. And I'm a Homeland Security major, and I, really got interested in emergency management about my sophomore, junior year. And so I hope to learn everything I can from this internship with On Target Preparedness. Similar to my colleague here, I also aspire to one day work for FEMA, and I'm hoping this will be a good stepping stone in that direction.
Awesome. Great. Thank y'all again for being here. We greatly appreciate it. I guess, Amani, you kind of have to be here since you work for us now, but we still appreciate you being here. So let's go ahead and jump into our topic. So I thought it was very important. Dr. Parker and I had talked about this. We have regular discussions about things like higher education and Homeland Security and emergency preparedness. And so I want to start it out by just, simply saying something that's important to me when it comes to higher education is having a degree helps me know that you can be taught something. And we already have to, especially with people who are hiring authorities, have to plan on training you in so many ways, because every job's different. Even if it's the same job, there's still differences between companies and organizations. And so when I see a degree, I see that you're trainable, that you learn, because every professor you go to in college has a different style. So open it up to the group. What is one basic thing that you feel like is so important about higher education, just as a basic or as a whole?
This is Dr. Parker. I feel like the skills that you develop, reading skills, writing skills, interpersonal communication skills, communication with superior people, all of that is just, it's not something that, you're just born with, and it's something that through a higher education you are developing and learning as you go through your different classes, your basic courses, English. But then when you get into your major courses, you're continuing to excel and to develop those skills in a way that will contribute to going on the market upon graduation.
Absolutely, I would wholeheartedly agree. I think that There's so many benefits, and then we've talked before we started this. I mean, and that's why when we look at hiring a full-time employee, we don't necessitate what the degree has to be in. Is because we look more at, what have you learned in those years? Because there's so much. I know, here, I graduated from Campbell back in 2002. I think that's when it was. I'm not. We're doing this from Dr. Parker's office, actually on Campbell University, and I don't have my degree to look back at right now to confirm that. But there was a lot of things you said were a lot of things that really built me and prepared me, even for graduate school, as
Absolutely.
well as the real world.
Absolutely.
So, what do y'all think?
This is Imani. I just like to say that I think one of the main benefits from getting a higher education is being able to make contacts and being able to make connections with people on campus, outside of campus. Not to say that you won't make connections without a higher education, but there's a greater chance for more connection and experience while you're pursuing a higher education, because you're meeting people you don't know about, you're meeting people in other programs that you're interested in, you're gaining information and experience through doing internships and things like that, being an apprentice. I think that's just one of the benefits of higher education, just being able to make connections, make contacts, become friends with someone in a field that you're interested in, just things like that.
Before we get to see if Scott's got something, I want to mention that because, especially since you're a recent employee now, a recent hire, that's very interesting because you had one of your references was somebody you actually had the chance to work for in your internship, and that gave you benefits as a contact, as a reference, as somebody who could speak very highly of you. So talk to us a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
A lot of that came from being able to do an internship and have somebody speak on my behalf. A lot of that came from being pushed to work with someone that's in a certain field. So the internship that I had was with Wilson Fire Rescue Services in Wilson, North Carolina. And the way I got onto that was by going to church with the chief, now chief that's there. And I was able to just talk with him about what I was interested in, what I was interested in studying while I was in college. Basically, he mentored me, and I was able to just follow him to see, where things would go and find out more about emergency services. And so that way I was able to, through him, also make more contacts and get on to doing an internship with emergency services in Raleigh, North Carolina as well. So just making sure you have the right contacts, just asking questions, talking to anybody you need to find out more information about what you want to do is a good way.
Absolutely, and that's, as Dr. Parker and I have talked about, here at Campbell, I had a mentor, Dr. David Thorne, who's still here, and that was, I always look back as that was one of my first real professional connections that I got from college was that. And, people, a lot of times, unfortunately, I think that you see that people will downplay academics because, they're just teachers or whatever. But, my thought about it is during that time frame, my first ever contract in emergency management occurred in, I believe it was 2000, and Dr. Thornton was one who helped me look at it and make sure that the study we were doing was proper. And I can't tell you the number of times we've talked about stuff, and he was so experienced, and he might not have fully understood emergency management or preparedness or anything like that, but he always had that ability to take whatever I was doing up a level, and it was perfect. So what do you think? So what are some of the benefits of just higher education as a whole?
Well, I would say apart from everything that you guys have already said, the connections and everything like that, I would say that one of the major benefits is just the wide range of exposure to different areas of the field that you learn throughout your degree.